So welcome back, and just don't forget to take our online survey and keep tweeting at New York IIBN with the hashtag NYOPP14. So next up we have long-standing IIBN member and recently appointed Dublin Commissioner for Startups, our friend Niamh Bushnell. On behalf of the IIBN, I'd like to congratulate her on her new role. We're extremely excited to see what comes of the work she'll be doing in Dublin over the next coming period, and how we here in New York can help her. I'm going to hand it over to Niamh, who will then introduce the Smart Start 60-second pitches.
Thank you, everybody. Good morning, and it's great to be back in New York. I left here after 16 years in late August, and I've been back in Dublin for about 2 months now, so it's great to be home back in New York. And I've actually just become an American citizen, which is kind of ironic after all these years. But anyway, so let me start by saying Dublin Commissioner for Startups, first time the city has this role. Very exciting. I was just asked, was it full-time? It's absolutely a 24/7 job. And I have moved lock, stock and barrel, son and husband, back to Dublin to make it happen. So a bit about my background before I talk about the role specifically. As I say, I was in New York here for 16 years. So I came to New York in '98 with Enterprise Ireland. So worked for Enterprise Ireland for 6 years, helping Irish tech companies come in here. You all know the great work Enterprise Ireland does. Then I worked for Orbiscom. Orbiscom is a great payments company bought by MasterCard in 2009, one of our nice big exits out of Dublin back then. And then I started investing in software companies through an accelerator here in the city called Entrepreneurs Roundtable, which is an award-winning accelerator, and we've made some very nice exits since we started. Through that process, I got very interested and involved, obviously, in the startup scene, and I'm on my second startup, which I have handed over, called Idirus. It's a P2P learning and mentoring platform for corporations, and I handed it over when I got the Dublin job to a new CEO here, Jackie O'Brien, who sold her last company to Microsoft, so I'm hoping that she will sell my company to Microsoft sometime very soon. So that's me by background, and I think that's the perfect backdrop to why I went for and thankfully then got the role in Dublin as Dublin Commissioner for Startups. What is the role? So Dublin is a great city, as we all know. What I didn't really realise, and what you guys probably don't realise, even if you go back often, as I always did, is that there is an amazing startup scene in Dublin. I actually started tracking it myself back in 2011 when I became a mentor for an accelerator there called Propeller at the Ryan Academy. And I started thinking, God, there's really some good entrepreneurs here, there's some good ideas here, and there are some good mentors here. So going back and forth from New York back to Dublin, month by month, or every 6-month period, I should say, every time I went home, I could see more and more traction and more momentum in the startup scene in Dublin. So when this job came up, I said, this is such a big opportunity for Dublin, and its time has come. Dublin has arrived. One of the things that amazed me most when I got back there full-time this year, starting in September, was the number of really great startups we have in Dublin and their global potential. So one of the first things I did, and it was actually, I started the job officially on the 1st of October, but I was working in September because I'm like that, get into it and get started. So one of the first things I did in early September was judge the Spark of Genius, the ESB Spark of Genius competition. So 30 companies, 4-minute pitches, 3 of the companies got to pitch at Web Summit as a result. That was kind of the award. Every single one of those companies, I mean, 5 years before, I would have seen completely different credentials on stage in terms of their background, in terms of their confidence levels, in terms of their ideas and the technology. Every single one of those companies reminded me of the talent and the quality that I saw here in New York, because I was a startup entrepreneur here. Pitching constantly at competitions here in New York, constantly going to meetups, trying to connect with investors. I've lived that life and the blood, sweat and tears that comes with this for like 3 years before I went back to Dublin. And it just amazed me. I knew there was some bright lights in Dublin, but 30 companies, 28 of them, I would say. I was like, wow, these guys are on a par with what I see in New York, with the community over there. We've really got something going on here. My next call of duty was to be involved with the Entrepreneur of the Year Awards, which is a national award across Ireland, and it's done regionally and by city, first of all, and then it all comes together in Dublin finally at the end of the year, actually in December. So I was involved in the Dublin City version of it, and about 156 companies applied to try and pitch for this thing, and they went through rounds, and by the time I got to them, there was 17 companies left. Again, these are guys all kind of just out of college, some of them still in college, in their early 20s, and the kinds of companies that came out of that are companies that you may have heard of. If you haven't heard of them, you should hear of them. Restored Hearing, Beats Medical are two of the medical companies that have come out with just amazing, high-tech, super big Irish companies that are very small right now, that are going to make it global, and we need to do everything we can to help them. So I've got a couple of messages for the audience here today, and one of them is that there are great technology companies coming out of Ireland, and it's our responsibility, all of us, to tell the story of them, because that's the role. I think part of the reason why the role came up, and it was a result of the Activating Dublin report that came out. This report, McKinsey did a report, then Activating Dublin, which brought together all of the stakeholders in Dublin, including government, investors, multinationals, chambers, everybody across the board. And then they all got together for a series of meetings over a year. How can we make Dublin a great global hub? And the Activating Dublin report, which came out last year, was the result of that. Recommendation number 1, Commissioner for Startups. We need somebody who unites the community in Dublin. That's the role. So the things that I have found since I got back to Dublin, the first thing is we do not tell our story at all. We do not tell it in Dublin. We do not tell it outside of Ireland. And the entrepreneurs themselves are responsible for that, but all of us too need to have the names of great Irish companies on our fingertips, on our tongues. We need to be able to talk about the great companies that are coming out of Ireland and really support them on their journeys into the States and everywhere else as well. Now that's going to take a bit of a cultural shift in Ireland, and I'm not arrogant enough to think that I can make this all happen by myself, or even that we can make it happen in the 2 years that I have this post for. But it will help if all of us try to promote the great companies that are coming out of Ireland, not in a generic way, but in a very specific way. There was an article published in Economist, which is an American tech magazine and newspaper that you guys might know, and in there I had a piece, The Next Wave, 20 great Irish tech companies you've never heard of. So articles like that, lists of companies like that, get to know what's going on in Dublin, as I have just done, and help us to sing the praises of these companies. One of my big kind of broken record things back in Dublin already I'm known for is the think big, talk loud lady. And that's what I want to continue to be. So I want our companies to think big, think global from day one, which some of them don't, and they should because they have that capability, and then to talk loudly about what they're doing. Like all of the years that I lived here in New York, every single day I would go to meetups and to pitch events, and companies would start their presentations always with, "We are going to change the world." And then you'd be sitting up waiting, what is it? And it could be a parking app. It could be, it could be candy for kids. It could be anything. But these companies presented themselves hugely and massively as global companies that were going to shift behavior, create new categories of products and services. And our companies need a little bit of that chutzpah. We need a little bit of that, we've got it, so let's flaunt it. So, let's help them do that. Let's promote them. Let's get them on the international stage, and let's prompt them to get more on the international stage. The other part is the city itself. I mean, I can't believe how engaged the investors are, the multinationals are, the professional services firms are in Dublin, engaged in the startup universe in Dublin. Everybody is, sponsoring, training, hosting. We need to do a lot more. We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. There's a huge opportunity to do more. But again, to see that ecosystem is super. And one of the things I have to do, one of my roles, is to connect that ecosystem better, because we have a great accelerator here, a great event here, a great hackathon over here. And they're kind of like these once-off things, and they're fantastic of themselves, but of course time moves on and everybody forgets. So another one of my broken record things is, what's the and there for? What's the next step for everything that happens? All of that massive effort that goes into making something happen and making it a success, what is the next step for the entrepreneurs that go through that and come to out the other side? Can they get funding as a result of that? Can they get into Enterprise Ireland as a result of that? Can they get overseas mentors as a result of that? What are we doing? How are we connecting all of the different energies and efforts that are taking place in Dublin and make it more of a unified approach? Because that's the competitive advantage of Dublin. Like the scale in New York, we will never get there. And somebody said it earlier on, I think it was Dylan, are we going to be the next Silicon Valley? No, and we don't want to be the next Silicon Valley. Dublin needs to be and will be, with all of our support, the best startup city it can be. And that's good enough. So we need to focus on specific clusters, world-class excellence in terms of our products, in terms of our design, in terms of our marketing, and we will be a brilliant startup city that ranks up there with all the rest of them. So that's kind of my pitch here today. One final thing, another new mantra of mine is talent, not taxes. So Dublin and Ireland, the story of Ireland as a tax haven is so old, so tired, so out of date. When you are the only people who are comfortable writing that story and talking that story today are people who are completely disconnected with it and I want the easy way out. If you are in Dublin any day of the week now, and talk to any of the multinationals from Google and Facebook down, you get a very good sense of how extremely engaged with Dublin these multinationals are. And again, we can do more and we will be doing more with them, but they are engaged in providing mentorship, in providing their expertise. They're buying companies. Google are buying companies in Dublin. Some of them can't be, some of these pieces of information can't be announced publicly. But the fact is, it's happening. So, the multinationals are part of the ecosystem. They're an incredibly important part of the ecosystem, and they are part of the startup story and more in Dublin. And they're there for talent. They were there for taxes, maybe for starting off with. They're staying there for talent, and more are coming in. Airbnb, TripAdvisor, all of these guys, they're coming in because of the talent as well. They can get the talent that they need in Dublin. And final point, I just spent the last couple of days at Web Summit, and I was trying to, after all of the years of blagging my way into conferences here in New York as a poor consultant or startup entrepreneur, and being at all of these great, high energy tech conferences here and on the West Coast and everywhere else, I was walking around Web Summit and I was trying to think, what is the difference between what is going on here, which is amazing, and what I've seen at tech conferences all over the world? And the difference is the people. There's a sense of happiness and connectedness and unity about the ecosystem in Dublin. And when we bring people into that, they're part of that as well. I think Conor said it earlier on. People like us. I did one of the pub crawls for Web Summit, and my God, I was so tired beforehand because I had done this Kaufman Fellows Conference all day, which is a whole other story, 200 investors from all over the world in Dublin for the first time. And I was so tired going to the pub crawl, I was dreading it. And I met all of these young entrepreneurs from like 7 different countries, from Asia, from Africa, literally they were from everywhere. And they were just all so insanely excited to be in Dublin. It's like as if it was an achievement of itself, that it just gave me so much energy. And the whole 3 days was like that. So Dublin is, and Ireland is, but my role is Dublin focused. Dublin is just a super energetic, happy and abundant city when it comes to technology, entrepreneurship, startups, and just help me to get that message out and help me to promote those entrepreneurs to themselves and to the world, and I would really appreciate that. Thank you. Jerry Moan will now come up to introduce the next the 60-minute pitches. Thank you.
Not afternoon yet. Good morning to you all. Jerry Moan, Smart Start, Smart Zone, and the gang out the side. I think as you've gone through the coffee break, you've had a chance to speak to each of them. This is just an opportunity, 60 seconds worth of an opportunity, just to get them to give a very specific message to you, to allow us, I suppose, from the island's perspective, to show you that it's a very broad range of startup, that it's not all software, that we've got agri-tech, meditech, and a vast array of superly bright and very talented young people delivering on a promise that is the future of the island. I'm not going to talk anymore to you. You can get a great opportunity to chat to them outside. The first to her feet is Deirdre. Are you up, Deirdre?
Yep.
And Deirdre is going to introduce her service, and then after that we've got 9 startups who are pitching for a place in the Shark Tank, along with Mary McKenna, who right now is tweeting about the damn thing. Thank you, Mary. Can't drum up any more audience, okay? You're going to get these 12. And there's going to be 6 of those go forward to about 2:40 in the afternoon and get another batch of advice and support from Mary and the gang there. So, Deirdre, the floor's yours.
Thank you. So, I'm Deirdre O'Brien, and I'm a US immigration attorney. Oh, that's much better. In 1997, I founded O'Brien and Associates here in New York City, and in 2004, we opened an office in Kilkenny in Ireland. If there's one message I'd like to get across today, it's this: don't procrastinate when it comes to US visas. Know what you can and can't do as a business visitor, and come up with a bigger picture plan for when the time is right. A lot of clients who contact us are not ready to hit the US ground running immediately. But if you don't know where you're going, you won't know when you get there. So come up with a bigger picture and know what your visa options are. And if you seek advice early enough, you can be guided along the way, the steps that you can take to maximise your options for when the time is right. And in the meantime, you're travelling with confidence as a business visitor and not wondering every time whether you're going to meet a difficult immigration officer. Stephen Smith and Irish Central very kindly published an article this week for the conference, and you can access that and other useful materials on our website, o'brienandassociates.com. And there's no time to get into US immigration reform and other issues right now, but if you follow me on Twitter at US Visa Expert, I thought that was the timing, at US Visa Expert, then I'm posting regularly about US immigration reform and related issues. Thank you for listening this morning.
Well done.
Thank you.
Hello everybody. I want to introduce you to the Sausta Fitness Pod, patent pending and manufactured in Ireland. Spent the last 4 years in design and research and development, and this is going to be a game changer in the health, fitness and weight loss industry. It already is making an impact in Ireland and the UK with its 30-minute sessions, high-impact sessions. So the type of results we're getting from a health point of view, we have clients that actually within a 4-week period, 30 minutes each day, 3 times a week, they are actually reducing cholesterol, lowering blood pressure, after 2 to 3 months off blood pressure medication, off antidepressants, also reversing diabetes. From a fitness point of view, when somebody comes in to use it for the first month, they improve their fitness levels between 10 and 20%. So we see this a big game changer. And also in the beauty industry, cellulite disappears between 4 to 6 30-minute sessions. Thank you for your time, and I'm looking to liaise with people within the industry who actually are interested in distribution and speaking to me on distribution in the US market. Thank you.
One, two. Hi, everybody. These smartphones that most of you have in your pockets shoot incredible high-definition, high-quality video. And what fan footage does is enables people who attend live music and sports events to use their smartphones to tell the story of the event from their own personal perspective. And it's an incredible way for brands to make an emotional connection with people at live events using fan footage technology. So I'm hoping that some of the people in the room here today can help connect fan footage with the digital marketing and sponsorship key people with major brands here in the US and also around the world. So at music concerts, we've worked with bands like Linkin Park, Bon Jovi, Culleton. They pick one song from their set, they record the audio automatically, and they ask the fans to film it together. We've worked with Leinster Rugby, Munster Rugby, and major football teams to do similar at sports events. So I'm Cathal from Fan Footage. I'd love to speak to you more about it. Please come and talk to me. Thank you very much.
Hi. Click Clinic is a mobile-enabled website which connects people with non-serious conditions to healthcare professionals in just a few taps. All you need is your phone or computer. We bring healthcare from the kitchen table, or from the hospital to the kitchen table. So it's a bit like Uber for healthcare professionals. Click Clinic gives you direct access to healthcare professionals from the comfort of your own home, workplace, or sporting facility. What are the pluses? There's no cost associated with missing work or scheduling appointments. For the healthcare professional, it removes substantial overheads associated with the provision of their service, while providing them with increased flexibility in their hours and working locations. I'm Elvine Irwin, the CEO and founder of Click Clinic, and my mission is to revolutionise how healthcare services are provided by bringing the healthcare professional to the person in need, and for this to be the globally accepted way for providing these services. Healthcare should be at the fingertips of those in need. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is John Beckett, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of ChannelSite. 54% of people who visit a large brand manufacturer website have an active buying intent, but only 8% of those people at best are converting. We've developed some patent-pending technology that increases that to about 42%. So the market for this is huge. We've conservatively calculated that it's worth about $1.5 billion a year. And we know that 70% of brands have no solution to address this problem at the moment. So in terms of the revenue model that we have, we bill on the basis of a setup for each brand and retailer that we're working with, and we then charge a recurring monthly fee. We've already secured contracts with the likes of Philips, Procter & Gamble, Mondelez, who's Cadbury's, and Philadelphia Cheese, and a number of others. Our average contract value to date has been about $350,000. We did $445,000 of business in our first year, and we'll triple that this year. The founders are all experienced tech professionals and tech entrepreneurs, and we've invested over $1 million of our own money since we were founded in March of last year. We're now looking to raise $3.4 million, and we're also looking to meet people who or get introductions to CMOs or equivalent level in large brand manufacturers, primarily in the technology sectors, food and drink, and consumer goods. Thanks very much.
Good morning. I'm Deirdre Colgan from Easy Technology. Have you ever wondered how the farming industry balances the need to feed a growing world population with the environmental responsibility that they have? Well, the solution to this is precision farming. And by precision farming, what I mean is placing the minimum inputs onto the land to achieve the maximum crop output. At Easy Technology, we've seized this opportunity and we've developed a range of machinery around this concept. We have a non-tipping trailer that protects crops. We have specialised fertiliser equipment. And we have a very new exciting concept in a one-pass system which seeds, fertilises and tills the ground in one application. This saves 75% of the machinery and energy requirements based on conventional methods and up to 30% of the fertiliser needed. We're here today to seek opportunities for sales and distribution in the US, and although we're a small Irish company now, we do have global ambition. And if you've any doubt about our global potential, I'll leave you with this thought. Once in your life you may need a doctor, a lawyer or a policeman, but 3 times a day, every day, you need a farmer. Thank you very much.
Hi everybody. My name is Ollie Hines of Hub Controls. Do you know how much your energy has increased in price over the last 3 years? 37%. Millions of households around the world have their incomes falling behind inflation, and all their energy bills are growing rapidly. We're the founder of the Hub Controller. The Hub Controller is not just a smart thermostat. It's the world's first household utility bill controller. What it does that no one else does is it allows you to budget, and it will intelligently turn on and off your heating or your electricity or your cooling within your budget. What it also does that none of our competitors can do is it can be installed in 5 minutes using our patented technology. We've got an excellent team, but our team really comes from customers. We have been 25 years in this industry talking to customers, and that's what this device comes from. And what we're looking for in the States, what we're looking for in this room, is a partner that has a similar vision to us that wants to bring this amazing product to every household in the US and around the world. Thank you.
Flat pack furniture, as you know it. Allen keys, dowels, screws, arguments, nightmare. Whack pack furniture. Fun, functional, and simple. It contains a wooden wedge and a mallet, and is inspired by Irish famine carpentry. Quality wooden products, self-assembly, satisfaction guaranteed, simply beautiful. My name is Benny McGuinness, and I want to breathe new life into the Irish furniture industry, and I believe whack pack furniture can become a global product. Unlike clever cards earlier on, there's not a mallet for everybody in the audience. Thank you. Thank you.
Flavour of them all. There's another bunch of them after the break, and I'm hoping that you get a sense of the vitality, the energy, and the enthusiasm that these startups bring to it. They're much earlier than you saw, much earlier stage companies than you've seen already, but they are the people with the vision and the passion that's going to grow. As you can see from this young man, super opportunities. That's the sort of opportunity that we in Smart Start and in turn our venture capital fund Smart Invest are working with, both here and in Ireland. So we're giving them the opportunity to travel the Atlantic and to bring their product to you. Thanks very much, and we'll see you again in a wee while.
That was very impressive. I just want to remind everybody to tweet at New York IIBN and use the hashtag NYOP14. So that's hashtag NYOPP